Hello, it's Regina. Welcome back to my haunted library. Today I have an Authortube update because I have a new book that just came out. It's called Fashion Victims. And it's more like a thriller, like psychological, maybe a little erotic thriller, not so much horror, although I do notice that I just got my printed books and my model's head is cut off. So maybe it does look a little more like horror. I have to fix that. But anyway, here it is, and I'm pretty proud of it. It took me quite a while to finish this book. I started it a couple years ago, and then I kind of put it on the shelf while I did my whole YA series. And then which I don't recommend that you do that. And then I resurrected it. I did it for a NaNoWriMo for maybe 2 years ago, and then now I finally finished it. And feeling pretty good about it. But you know, if there are any other writers out there, you know how you feel when you end a book. You're just like, you can't look at it anymore. You just want to put it out there. Hopefully some readers will read it and enjoy it. It definitely is like a quick page turner kind of read, which my other two books are. So if you read any of my other work, Unmasked or Black Magic, it's definitely along those lines. But it takes place in the New York fashion industry, which I did work in for a very brief period, so I used that as a reference. So the book is about a fashion designer named Leonard Saint-Michel, and he kind of has a fake French name. His real name is Leonard Michael McBride, and he's from Queens. But he was trying to act like Yves Saint Laurent by this name. And he was a young, like, wunderkind of 7th Avenue. He was very successful right out of the gate at a fashion school. But now, when the story begins, he's 40 and he's kind of losing his mojo. And he needs to save his business by having a really big hit for his new collection because his last collection tanked. So he desperately needs a new vision, and he's not the healthiest guy in the world. He has a little bit of a drinking and a drug problem, and he has a lot of psychological trauma, which he deals with in his psychiatrist's office, but also at a kind of underground high-class sex club called Club Volupte, which he goes to late at night to get rid of all his demons. So that is the setting for this book. So while all this is going on in his life, there is a serial killer loose in Manhattan who is preying on members of the fashion industry, all people that Len knows. And it keeps coming closer and closer to him. And so it's a bit of a murder mystery and also a psychological study into the creative mind. So whenever I write a book, I always try to make it entertaining and fast-paced, which this I think definitely is. But I also try to layer it with some themes that I find important or interesting, or at least something I want to explore. So in my first novel, Unmasked, I wrote about family trauma and how that can really mess you up into your adult life and never really be free of it. In Black Magic, I did the same, but about like romantic love. And then in this book, Fashion Victims, it's about the creative spirit and how creativity can kind of consume one. If you are a creative person and you have that drive, you can get very wealthy. You can have all this material things around you, but that's not what you care about. What you care about is that creative process and creating and making something, and that's what drives Len. And he experiences in a young girl named Lily Rose a muse, a creative muse that helps him to rekindle his creativity that he once had when he was a young man. But the dark side of that, or the downside of that, it is consuming him, where he's not sleeping and he can't function. It's all about this work and his vision and everything else, his health, his personal relationships, everything is sacrificed to that goal of what he calls the fashion gods. So it's a murder mystery, it's a serial killer on the loose, but it's more of a psychological study of this kind of creative being who is also extremely self-destructive. So if that sounds like something you might enjoy, check out Fashion Victims. Like my other books, it's only 99 cents on Kindle. And just for today, special offer, I'm giving out 3 free giveaways of this paperback version with the head chopped off. So when I go back and fix that, you will have now a collector's item because it has a mistake. So to enter this giveaway, all you have to do is leave a comment below that just says giveaway. And I will throw your name in the hat. And if you are chosen, I will post that in the comments as well. And I will send you a copy of this and then maybe some other goodies from my haunted library. So I just kind of want to get this out there and have it read and get some opinions about what people think of this book. So that deck is cleared, and now I can start thinking about what next novel I'm going to write. I've also finished my fantasy book on Wattpad. It's called Starlex, and you can read it for free on Wattpad. This is the first time I've ever written a fantasy story, and I really take my hat off to anyone who writes in the fantasy genre because it's very, very difficult, really challenging, but I really enjoy doing it. And that's what I love about Wattpad is you can just be free to write something without the pressure that we put on ourselves, you know, to make it perfect or to be in a certain way. It turned out to be the longest novel I've ever written. It's over 70,000 words, and I think when I go back and edit it, which I do plan on doing, and fleshing it all out, it probably would be, you know, 80 or more, and that's cool. I always wanted to write fantasy, and it was fun. I have dragons, I have knights. It's kind of it's in a medieval kind of world, but in another planet. And you know, I hit a lot of tropes and cliches, I'm sure, but gee, I had fun doing it. If you're a writer and you don't participate in Wattpad, I highly recommend that you at least check it out because I have just found it so great. You know, just recently, I separated my Goodreads account. I used to have all my, in fact, if I reviewed one of your books and you think it's gone, it will get there eventually. What happened was I divided my site as R. St. Clair, the writer, with the reviews I do as a reader, which is under Regina's Haunted Library. So that's new. So I downloaded my reviews, exported them, and then I was supposed to be able to import them, but it didn't work. So now I have to go in and add them like by hand, which is, you know, I just haven't gotten around to doing it all. But the reason why I did that, and I don't know, this is probably a topic for another video, but when I first joined Goodreads, I did try to get involved with some of like the forums and stuff as a writer. And I don't know, it was really hard to engage. And there was some weirdness there. It always felt kind of tense. And I think that there is some like toxicity between the readers and reviewers and the authors that you see this happening. And it's not, I mean, I look at it from both sides because as a reviewer, I want to be able to put an honest review without thinking that the author is like kind of breathing down my neck and putting that kind of pressure on me, or God forbid, harassing me about that, which unfortunately has happened. But also as an author, I don't want to go on that site and feel like, you know, I'm being harassed. You know, I've gotten a couple bad reviews, and you know, I always try to, you know, handle it with class and dignity. If you're a writer and you're trying to get into more of like a social interaction with other writers and readers, don't do Goodreads. Go to Wattpad, even put just a couple short stories on there. You'll be amazed at how you'll start to grow a network. Now, is there a lot of transference from Wattpad to buying customers on Amazon, let's say? I have not found that to be the case, but that doesn't mean that there isn't value there. And so if you're just looking to make sales, that's one thing. But if you're looking for like more of a social interaction, getting some like beta reading for your books, trying out something new like I did with my fantasy book, then by all means, check out Wattpad. Creepy. So that is my Authortube update. Check out Fashion Victims and put a comment below, giveaway, if you're interested in entering the free giveaway. So that's all I have for today. Thanks again for stopping by my haunted library, and I'll see you soon. Bye.